From Richard deliberately creating the so-called happiness virus, unleashing a kind of zombie apocalypse inside the school, to later discovering in this breakdown how it actually works. Today, I managed to solve the biggest mystery hidden within one of the darkest episodes of the amazing world of Gumball, the one titled The Joy. Although this series is usually labeled as a kid's show, at times it dares to flirt with unsettling themes. However, this particular episode becomes a true zombie horror nightmare, with clear references to undead cinema and found footage films. But what exactly makes The Joy such a disturbing chapter? And what questions arise from it? Before answering, we need a bit of context. It all begins with Gumball and Darwin storming into the kitchen, visibly annoyed, wearing the most exaggerated frown humanity has ever seen. That could only mean one thing. It was Monday. Richard sees them and, in his usual fashion, offers them a wonderful hug, filled with all his love and infinite tenderness. The kids, of course, refuse, but Richard being Richard, wraps them up anyway. The result? An explosion of rainbow colors. At that moment, nobody thought much of it. When they arrive at school that morning, the atmosphere is loaded with gloom. Everyone is sunk in the Monday blues, something that actually feeds Miss Simeon's malice, since she delights in her students' misery. Strangely enough, unlike everyone else, Gumball and Darwin start feeling absurdly cheerful. Their joy is so overwhelming that they even sing during a surprise test. The boys prance down the hallways with an unstoppable grin. Even when they try to suppress it, they can't stop laughing or radiating happiness. Miss Simeon immediately realizes that something is wrong. To her, this isn't just two kids being happy, but a dangerous illness that must be treated at once. Soon, the joy takes over their brains and starts causing hallucinations. Suddenly, the strict teacher and the nurse appear before their eyes as a cuddly plush monkey and a candy cane.
No hay nada malo con estos niños, solo están sonriendo porque están felices. Y para el registro, no es doctora.
La felicidad es enfermedad y para el registro...
As their condition worsens, Miss Simeon decides to quarantine them. Yet things only spiral further. They laugh uncontrollably until the heart monitor connected to them begins flashing rainbow colors, a clear sign that the infection has fully consumed them. They break free from isolation and hug both Principal Brown and the nurse, passing on the joy virus. Simeon manages to hide in her office, but the spread is unstoppable. Every hug infects another student or staff member, turning them into zombie-like creatures. When all hope seems lost, Simeon accidentally switches on an old cassette player, blasting depressing classical music. Shockingly, the infected Principal Brown begins to sob uncontrollably and suddenly returns to normal. A plan is born. Connect the cassette to the school's PA system to broadcast the piece and cure everyone at once. The idea sounds good, but to execute it, she must cross a hallway full of the infected. She tries to slip past them but fails, chased all the way into the office. Once inside, disaster. The song ends, and to replay a track on a cassette, you must rewind it. She tries, but it's too late. The joy zombies knock her down, and although she fights back fiercely, she ultimately succumbs. The episode ends there. No one comes to save the school. The final shot is Miss Simeon laughing in a chilling, possessed way. Ironically, an episode titled The Joy ends with such a bleak outcome. Here emerges the first big mystery. What happened afterward? Some fans believe the situation was solved off-screen. One popular theory suggests that once cured, Principal Brown escaped and contacted the Elmore Health Organization, informing them about the cure. It sounds logical, since he heard the music. But the theory falls apart because Brown is slow, clumsy, and panics easily, making him an easy target to be reinfected. Another speculation points to Tobias, whose rainbow body might have granted him immunity, suggesting he cured the school. But it's obvious Tobias doesn't care enough to help, so that seems unlikely. The most common theory is that the virus is temporary, eventually fading away, leaving everyone unconscious and later waking up confused. It's plausible, though still unsupported. Personally, I believe the answer lies in a recurring element of the show: the resetting of the universe. In many episodes, when problems reach an impossible peak, everything magically resets. In the series finale, it's even suggested that reality itself can be rebooted. This would explain why, despite the entire school being infected, the next episode carries on as if nothing ever happened. Another intriguing detail is the discovered cure: Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, Simeon's favorite song. The reason is simple. Its overwhelming sadness forces the infected to return to normal. It's ironic, really, since everything started with the Monday blues, and in the end, sorrow becomes the cure for excessive happiness. Still, another mystery lingers. Simeon was hugged several times yet didn't transform right away. She resisted far longer than anyone else, which suggests that her affinity for gloom actually granted her natural protection. This reinforces the idea that depression itself is the antidote to joy. But then, what exactly is this disease? Though it's referred to as a virus, clearly inspired by the movie Quarantine, from which it borrows elements, it doesn't behave like a normal pathogen. Instead, it acts as a conscious entity, manipulating hosts to spread itself. At first, it does so innocently, with friendly hugs. But when faced with resistance, it becomes aggressive. The key lies in one detail: the strange rainbow fluid dripping from the mouths of the infected. The coach even coughs it onto his hands. This proves that the contagion happens through fluid exchange, just like many real viruses, turning hugs into the perfect transmission method. But the most unsettling question comes when analyzing Richard. Gumball and Darwin were the first infected through his wonderful hug. Yet Richard himself remains completely immune. Why? One theory claims his adult brain can handle greater happiness, but this falls apart since other adults were infected. The most likely answer is that Richard already lives permanently in a state of joy, making him untouchable. Then comes the big question: did Richard do it on purpose? The simplest answer is no. He's a loving father, but also incredibly foolish. His intention was to cheer up his kids, not unleash an outbreak. His clumsiness, combined with his immunity, ended up creating a plague that transformed the entire school into joy zombies. In the end, The Joy is an episode that blends comedy, horror, and mystery, leaving us with more questions than answers. And even though we've managed to piece together much of its logic, that lingering unease remains, the feeling that we may never truly know the whole truth.